Scheduled, and now I see live. All right, guys, welcome to week 6 of You Watch, I Listen's NFL picks for the 2021-2022 season. We are sans Michael Manfredonio tonight as he is watching the end of the Rangers season. In their first game of the season. It's over already. You know, they like making that joke. Family Guy made it famous. It's like, here we are at Mets opening day, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over. Puck drop, the Rangers season is over already. The Islanders are better. The Devils will probably be better, too. Rangers are trash. The fans are trash. The building's trash. The owner's trash. Let's be real. Come on, Michael. You know this. You're ditching us for hockey? Come on. Josh, like, what's like the... I consider like hockey like one of the lowest rung things that you could ditch your friends for. Like, what would you consider like on that like scale? Like going to Comic-Con by yourself?
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things that you never want to be caught dead doing.
let alone multiple times.
Right. But for Michael, we all know he's a lifelong Rangers fan, so we can't get too mad at him. No, he's a real Rangers fan too.
He is a real Rangers fan, unlike some people, yeah. And I was saying that I would also not miss like baseball opening day. Like I will cancel plans. Like if like I'm having a child and the child's like supposed to be born on opening day. No, we're either cesarean section a couple days before or hold that water, bitch. You know, that kind of thing. So guys, welcome. I want to give a quick shout out to my boys at Ruglebach, at Zkazman, and at Collect77. I've been talking about the card breaks. They've been fucking awesome. There's a really good football break about to go. A really cool baseball break in the works. So you can find them on my Twitter. I've been retweeting them like crazy. Josh, a lot happened in the NFL this week.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy week.
And not even like the week. I would say it hasn't even been a full week since the Gruden stuff really started, right? I need to unpack this a little bit. And I think I could be wrong. We have to go back and listen. But I did think I said that I thought the first coach fired or gone would be John Gruden. I didn't say the circumstances which. And I don't like being right in this situation because I think the circumstances are garbage. Let's just start from the beginning with this before we go into our records and picks. So comes out last week that these emails, that it's part of the sexual misconduct investigation into the Washington football team about their treatment of female employees and things like that. So they're auditing like 650,000 emails. And the first one that comes out is about something John Gruden said about the president of the NFL Players Association, DeMaurice Smith. He called him Dumb Morris Smith, which I thought was, very Gruden-esque and funny. And then he said he had lips like Michelin tires. Now, obviously there's a racial connotation to it. DeMaurice Smith being a black guy, and you say anything about lips and African Americans, they go crazy, right? Everyone goes crazy about it. So I saw it and I was like, he calls people rubber lips when they talk a lot of shit, whatever. I'm like, it's Gruden. He's a cornball, whatever. He's always been corny. You always say Tony Gonzalez and the sheriff, Peyton Manning. So I'm like, everyone needs to back off. So then the second batch of these emails come out and, homophobic stuff, queers should be playing football, shit talking Roger Goodell, whatever. I see it and I'm like, I think like I saw it and I was like, oh, this isn't going away. And my first thought is, this is the second round, right? Like one thing came out, whatever. Second thing came out, you're like, oh, or at least I'm thinking like I see it. I'm like, but I see it and I'm like, that's not going to fly with everyone else, or at least a large bulk of people, right? I think for you, me, Manfro, Taylor, we're just like, it's a football coach. Like this is how they talk. You have to be stupid to think they don't. Not that it's right, whatever, but you have to be stupid to think that, right?
For sure.
So those come out, and literally an hour later, he resigns, right? Now, there's some other stuff in there that, hasn't been reported as much, one of which is that there were nude pictures of some of the cheerleaders being sent in these emails that were sent without, that were being distributed and apparently were taken without the cheerleaders' consent, which, if that's the case, that's really, really bad. And I'm not going to say Gruden had nothing to do with it. But my first thought when I see all this is, before he resigns, he's being targeted. Like he's the scapegoat. Now for who, I don't know. I personally, I told you, I think that it's coming from inside the Raiders because they wanted to get out from that 10-year, $100 million contract. But in those 650,000 emails, you're going to tell me that Gruden is the only guy who still had a position of power in the league that is being scapegoated here? What is your thought when you see this? And it's about John Gruden, you see he resigns, and you know the things around it. What's your first thought?
Well, the way I think about it is, you got this guy, and at the time of these emails, he was a commentator on ESPN.
Correct.
And, quite frankly, we'll touch on this a little bit later. There's a lot more ESPN-centric things going on in these emails that we found out about in the last specifically 12 hours.
Yeah.
But I think that when you've got 650,000 emails, and it's all part of an investigation into the Washington football team, that there's some higher ups within Washington, probably within the ownership group, specifically Dan Snyder and others, that are probably implicated. Now, what we know about the owners from back in the Robert Kraft situation, where they won't talk ill about another owner,
No,
I'm thinking that there must be something so heavy in these emails that they don't want it out. So Mark Davis, being a longtime NFL name, steps up and says, let's throw fucking Gruden to the wolves here. Let him be the sacrificial.
I can get out of this contract.
I can get out of this contract, but also I can cover the tracks of another owner.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. And what's crazy is, so the investigation was wrapped up back in July. I don't know if you remember this, but 4th of July weekend, the NFL they always do this, and a lot of the leagues do this. When they have a negative news dump, they do it on a holiday weekend or like a Friday, right? So 4th of July weekend, they dump, we're fining Washington football team $10 million for the sexual misconduct investigation, but they didn't release any of the details of it. And with the league, I think back to like the Ray Rice situation. Like it was, they had a blowback on that because they suspended Ray Rice just based on the video of him dragging his unconscious girlfriend out, thinking that no one knew what was going on and that no one would ever see the video of her get knocked out. And what was it, a day later when the video of him just cold clocking her comes out, Ray Rice released, whatever. But the blowback to all this, it's still coming out. And when I saw the Gruden stuff happening, I said first thing was, the Michelin tires, and it was the homophobic, misogynistic, racist, whatever. I said, okay, the next thing that's going to come out is racist memes, specific like racial words that were going to be used. It was pretty clear to me, just based on the history of how these things work in today's culture. But like you said about 12 hours ago with Adam Schefter, him emailing the former president of the Washington football team, Bruce Allen, an article asking him if there's anything he wants to change, add, tweak, or whatever. Again, showing that the media, I don't feel like this has to be said anymore, but it obviously does, is that we all like Schefter because of how, things he tweets out. We get the news from him first. But he's not a friend. Like, he's in bed with these people that ESPN wants to make you think are the bad guys. And ESPN can scapegoat Washington, and they can scapegoat Gruden and the Raiders. But this happened while John Gruden was an employee of ESPN. So ESPN should step the fuck back and not say a goddamn thing about this whatsoever. Gruden is getting enough flack right now. A guy who, by every account, and again, that doesn't mean that his comments should be forgiven, however you want to feel. I personally am about forgiveness. They're fucking words. And you never heard a player say anything bad about him, right? He has Carl Nassib on his team. He made dumb homophobic comments, whatever. But he's Carl Nassib on his team. And I think if he really felt that way, he would have found a way to trade or cut Carl Nassib. Obviously, after he came out, you can't really do that. So I get both sides of the argument here. But everything else that's been happening since then. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defending Super Bowl champions, removed John Gruden from the Ring of Honor, right? Because of his terrible comments. It's really weird for a team that just signed Richard Sherman, who was arrested for a domestic violence incident just a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
Weird for a team that has Antonio Brown on it. And we don't need to go into all the legal blowback that Antonio Brown has dealt with in the last year or two, right?
Right.
A team that has Warren Sapp still in its Ring of Honor. Warren Sapp of multiple horrific crimes, and they never bat an eye. EA Sports announces today that they were removing John Gruden from the Madden 22 video game. Okay, great. Please, then do me a favor. Don't release in your Madden Ultimate Team updates those Adrian Peterson 99 overall cards, the Chad Johnson out of position cards. I don't see any of those things happening. What about, let's go back to, want to look at video games like that. How many guys have been arrested for domestic violence that Madden and EA did nothing to remove from the games. And they have to do this damage control, this fake, phony bullshit to make it look like they're on top of it and they're on your side, guys. So we're going to take John Gruden out of the game. First off, most people don't really care. Half the people I know that play Madden pick their own coach anyway or make themselves the coach. But the phoniness of it, like there was Warren Sapp cards in Madden last year. I feel bad for Gruden in this situation because I don't think he's a bad guy. I understand why I appreciate the fact that he got in front of it and just stepped down rather than doubling down, saying it's something I did a long time ago. It was a no-win situation for him. But he's never going to have a career NFL or media again, right?
You would think not, but you never know. He might pop up a couple years down the road. Hard to say.
He's going to have to do the famous kiss assing where it's going to take like the Bucs really bugs me more than anything else. Like him having to resign because of this, it's one thing, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of all teams to keep Warren Sapp in the Ring of Honor, but to sign Richard Sherman. Well, he's still under investigation. To sign Antonio Brown, but hey, you know that John Gruden, he sent some bad emails a couple years ago. Josh, you disappeared.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you are. You went blank.
I'm checking on something really quick.
You look like John Gruden's NFL career. They're erasing this guy. Like, how crazy is that shit? Would you like? I think we all expected that the Raiders season wasn't going to go well, and even before all this happened, you could see those cracks starting to show. I don't know, man. It's another big name is going to fall in this whole thing, right?
Yeah, I would say so. It's pretty likely.
I mean, Dan Snyder, like how he's gotten away with so much. And the other thing is you talk about the $10 million fine, right? What is $10 million to Dan Snyder? Like that's like if you and I were fined 50 cents for something we said. He's like, oh, here. Like 10 million to this dude. He finds it in his fucking couch cushions. But could you imagine that they were taking pictures of cheerleaders without their consent in the nude and then distributing it over NFL server emails? All right, let's go into our picks this week. So Manfred's not here. He sent me his picks. I'm going to be reading them. I'm going to be reading his words verbatim. So last week, Josh, you finished in third for the second straight week. You went 10-6, and Manfred and I both went 11-5. So you didn't lose too much ground. You're actually tied with Manfred now. I went, like I said, Manfred and I went 11-5, so I sit in first place at 52-28. Josh and Manfred both sit at 49-31. So the first game of the week, Thursday night's game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Tampa Bay coming off a thrashing of my Miami Dolphins. Eagles coming off another loss. Or they won. They beat the Panthers. Yeah, they beat the Panthers. Why am I saying they lost? The Bucs are 6.5-point favorites on the road. I'm going to give Manfred's pick first, okay?
Okay.
Bucs over Eagles. Tom Brady is good. Philly is not good. I got to agree with Michael here. I'm also going to take Tampa Bay. I just saw a stat like 5 minutes before we started this. Jalen Hurts is responsible for 87% of the Eagles' offensive yards, by far the widest margin of any one player in the league. Wild. Too much to put on a young quarterback. For that reason, give me Tampa. There's some concern about the thumb injury with Tom Brady, but I've seen this story too many times. Tom Brady's on the injury report, and then he goes up and throws for 400 yards. So give me the Bucs.
Yeah, also taking the Bucs. Going to agree with everything Michael said. Very insightful.
Fantastic. All right, we'll go right to the next game. This is my team. So I'll give my pick first. The Miami Dolphins taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. As of this morning, the Dolphins were 2.5-point favorites. The return of Tua at quarterback this week. Still some questions about big surprise, the health of Devontae Parker. Jaguars are a good matchup for them. Trevor Lawrence is definitely playing better, but they can't get into a consistent rhythm on offense. The Dolphins defense has underperformed thus far, but this is a get-right game for them with a bad offensive line. Do have to watch out for the extremely talented and underrated running back James Robinson, but Jacksonville does not do the things that have exposed Miami this year particularly well. And they're still kind of in flux. I don't know if any coach in the NFL is more grateful for John Gruden than Urban Meyer right now. Took some of the heat off him. But give me the Dolphins 2.5. I think it's the first game in a while where people are like, all right, they're a significantly better team with Tua. That became obvious to me after he went down. The way just the offense moves is completely different. So give me the Dolphins to cover the 2.5. For Michael, Dolphins over Jags. Dolphins are bad, but not losing to Jacksonville bad. So astute point.
And for that reason, I'm also going to take the Dolphins.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Next game. I'll read Michael's pick first because it's his team. This is fun. I might like this more than him being here. The Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. The Packers coming off the win over the Bengals. The Bears coming off a win over the Lions. The Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders. That's right. Excuse me. Packers over the Bears. The Bears are starting to gain a little traction, but the competition gets a big upgrade taking on the Packers, who really gave up too many points to the Bengals last week. Packers want to prove that they are the NFC North and make a statement. So he's picking the Packers to win big. I'm also taking the Packers here. Bears defense has played really well lately. Justin Fields, now that Matt Nagy has given up play calling to offensive coordinator Bill Lazor, you're seeing some much better things from him. For that reason, I will take the Packers, and I'm going to take them the -4.5 as well. I think they cover that. I'm also taking the Dolphins to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, I am going to take the Packers here. This is one of those head-to-head, legendary quarterback versus big up-and-coming rookie quarterback matchups in Rodgers versus Fields. And I just don't think that Fields is there to lead a team against a guy with the comeback prowess of Aaron Rodgers, even if the Bears do manage to get ahead at any point of the game.
I thought you were about to say the comeback prowess of Aaron Boone, but we know that.
Cool.
Unless it's 0-3. Got him a job.
Listen, I get it. It's fine. The Yankees and Mets were both playing meaningful September baseball this year with the Mets. Lindor putting up those 3 home runs that cost the Yankees home field advantage in the wild card game. Very happy for you as a Mets fan to be talking about Aaron Boone.
Yeah, he's had to be re-signed to a 5-year extension, Aaron Boone.
Yeah, I heard.
All right, next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Detroit Lions. Bengals had the Packers on the ropes. Lions, another team, they're like right there every week. And Dan Campbell has a team playing his ass off. It just does not have the talent to overcome mistakes. So Manfred's pick. Oh, boy. Bengals over Detroit. Bengals push the Packers to the brink and will be hungry for the W they literally missed by a bunch of missed field goals. So Manfred's taking the Bengals. I'm also taking the Bengals. Going to be a close game. I'm actually not super comfortable with this one. The Bengals are playing really well. I say they're playing above their head right now. Burrow and Chase look phenomenal. The Lions are maybe the most exciting bad team in football right now. They're in every game. They're playing really physical football. They're playing mean as fuck, emotional football. And I don't think they're the type of losses that, some teams have those like really back-breaking losses back to back to back, and then they just fall apart. This isn't going to happen with the Dan Campbell coach team. They're going to run into a win soon. I just don't think it's going to be this week. So give me the Bengals in this one.
I am going to take the Lions here.
All right.
They're losing a lot of close games, a lot of heartbreakers.
All winnable.
And I think that Cincinnati provides an interesting opportunity for Detroit to close one out.
Yeah, I thought about taking the Lions here. I just I think it's be another one of those ones where they lose like by a field goal or like they miss a field goal late kind of thing. It just feels like one of those games to me. So, okay, so you're going to take the Lions there. Next game, this is the second biggest spread of the week. The Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts played a great game against Baltimore. They had a bad end of third to fourth quarter. But Carson Wentz looks really good. He's been playing really good football. Frank Reich is a magician with what he can do with quarterbacks. The Texans had the Patriots on the ropes, but they did what the Texans do. Since their opening game win over the Jaguars, I think they've been outscored like 128 to like 49 or some shit, like some kind of crazy discrepancy. Still no Tyrod Taylor. The Colts are 9.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Colts here. I wouldn't touch that spread though, because the Colts are not a great team, but they're they're not a bad team, but they're not a great team, is what I mean to say. And 9.5 is tough, even though even when the Texans were good, the Colts always seem to torch them. So give me the Colts in this game, but stay away from the 9.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts here as well. I wouldn't touch those points either.
All right, Michael, Colts over Texans. The Colts have 3 RBs that could start on more than half the league, with Jonathan Taylor really coming into his own. Davis is okay, but won't do much versus the Colts. Don't disagree there. Okay, so this is the biggest spread of the week. The Los Angeles Rams at the New York Football Giants. The Rams coming off the win over the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Stafford played a great second half. Giants coming off the loss to the Cowboys, where honestly the game was closer. Excuse me, the final score indicated. But the Giants did suffer some serious injuries. Kenny Golladay, knee, Daniel Jones, concussion. So the annual Daniel Jones injured parade begins. It was a scary situation with the concussion. He's walking away and he starts stumbling. Rams are 10.5-point favorites. And I actually think that spread is fair. The strength of the Giants last year, when they performed above reproach when they won 5 games. Was the defense. They had a very, very good defense last year. The defense is terrible so far this season. So I'm going to take the Rams here. Stafford's playing great. Cooper Kupp's playing great. I predicted the Robert Woods explosive game last week. He went off against the Seahawks. And you still got Deshaun Jackson there. They're running the ball. The defense is playing well. If it's Daniel Jones definitively, the line maybe moves to 7.5 because he is having a really good year. He's playing really, really well. But 10.5 if it's Mike Glennon, might as well be 12.5, 13.5, whatever you want to make it. Give me the Rams in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. I'm sticking by my original prediction, even though it's not the same now, a little modified. I think that Joe Judge is going to be the second coach gone this year. The guy doesn't even know if his quarterback is healthy or not.
I honestly don't even know if that's what that was. Like, I feel like he was trying to like out Belichick people, like saying like one of these things, we practice with who we have available and we're on to Cincinnati. I think he was like trying to do like one of those like Belichick things, but he's not Belichick. And the guys that try to be Belichick when they're not, Eric Mangini, Matt Patricia, usually doesn't go very well. So, Michael, Rams over Giants. Giants are injured and aren't even that good. When they are healthy, the Rams cruise. I think he's right. All right, next game, the Kansas City Chiefs coming off the loss to the Buffalo Bills at the Washington football team. Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. Listen, the Chiefs have underperformed thus far. They have a historically bad defense right now. Mahomes is not playing up to the standard we expect, but when your defense is that bad, you can't keep doing the run and gun going for all the explosive plays. The key should be trying to keep your defense off the field. You don't want to score in 3 plays when your defense is that bad. I want to see the Chiefs start moving to a 2 tight end set, trying to run the ball more. Slow it down. I know that takes away the explosive play, but speaking of disappointing defenses, the Washington football team defense has been horrible, and we all had them. Chase Young didn't get his first sack until this week 5. That's crazy for a guy who had a killer rookie year. In this one, give me the Chiefs. I think it's a get-right game. Washington, Taylor Heineke's been playing pretty well, but this has to be the game where the Chiefs defense shows a little bit of fight. So give me the Chiefs and give me the 7.5 also.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs here too. Like you said, this is a get-right game for them. I think that they have to win this game. If they don't beat the Washington football team, then I don't think that there's a lot of hope for them to come back and win the AFC West. So
even a wild card,
yeah.
that's what's crazy. Especially because of the division, the Broncos 3-2, the Raiders 3-2. Oh man! All right, Mafro's pick: Chiefs over Washington. P. Mahomes snapping back to reality. He's a better quarterback than he's been playing. He's starting to hear the whispers and is an MVP caliber player who has underperformed. Right the ship with Washington, or the KCC are in trouble. All right. Next game, the Minnesota Vikings at the Carolina Panthers. The Vikings lost to the Browns last week, right? It was the Browns. Who did they lose to? Was that the week before? No, the Browns lost to the fucking Chargers. The Vikings lost last week, I think. I don't remember anymore. We were at a concert. We were watching the barricade get destroyed.
Yeah, we were.
Vikings at Panthers. Panthers lost to the Eagles. I know that. The Panthers are they're half-point favorites. Okay, so it's a fucking pick 'em right now. Sam Darnold coming back down to earth a little bit without Christian McCaffrey. I'm taking the Vikings here, not confidently, mind you. Without Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold does not look as confident throwing the ball down the field. You can see he's getting a little shaky like he looked with the Jets. So I'm going to take the Vikings, but not remotely confidently. Wouldn't touch those points.
I'm going to take the Vikings as well. I don't think that Carolina's offense is really anything to be too scared of without CMC. So,
yeah. All right. So Manfro, Vikings over Panthers. I'm rooting for the Panthers, but the Vikings have been causing havoc on both sides of the ball. They will have a game plan for Darnold. Regular Stephen A. Smith over here. All right, next game. Did you just squeak laugh?
I did a little bit.
All right, please don't ever do that again.
We could have gone completely past it and just blown right by it if you didn't bring it up.
Nah. Nah. I'm not going to do that. I'd hope you would do the same thing to me. All right, next game. Great game. Los Angeles Chargers coming off the win over the Browns at the Baltimore Ravens, coming off a really impressive comeback victory over the Indianapolis Colts. I mentioned before about how Jalen Hurts is accounting for 87% of the Eagles' offense. Lamar Jackson has more offense individually than 15 teams in the league. The second half that Lamar Jackson had against the Colts on Monday night was one of the best halves of football I've ever seen a quarterback have. He only threw 4 incompletions. He threw 4 touchdowns and over 340 yards. He accounted for over 500 yards of total offense. Just sensational. He's playing at an MVP level right now. I'm going to give Manfro's pick first because I liked his write-up on this one. Chargers over the Ravens. Lamar is the truth, but Herbert is making his case for MVP. Ravens can't beat the Chargers unless they drastically improve the run game in a week's time. So Manfro is taking the Chargers. I'm going to take the Ravens here. Both teams have been playing really, really well. I mean, the Ravens, they lost week 1, but they're 4-1 now. They're right there. It's amazing what Harbaugh does every year, and Lamar is improving. He's improving as a passer. I think the narrative was after they were underperforming through 3 weeks, like, oh, he hadn't had or 2 weeks it was. Oh, like 17. I even said it. 17 quarterbacks have had games of 280 passing yards or more, and Lamar doesn't have any. 440 yards last week, 300 yards the week before. He's really slinging it. They're doing more creative things with Marquise Brown, and of course the talented tight end Mark Andrews is absolutely killing it. Now I do agree with Manfro. The running game has to be better. They had their NFL record 42 straight games with 100 yards rushing snapped this past week, but they still won. I think Baltimore's defense is going to be able to create some issues for Justin Herbert. I think more specifically, they're going to contain Austin Eckler. And if you contain Austin Eckler and you make the Chargers one-dimensional, it's going to make a huge difference. Herbert is without question playing at an MVP level. This is maybe the 2 front runners in the AFC for best quarterback right now next to Josh Allen. I'm going to take the Ravens just because it's at home more than anything else. So give me the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Ravens as well. Lamar's looking scary, man, and he's only starting to heat up. So I think that this team is going to go on a little bit of a run for the rest of the season. They're not in a super competitive division. The Browns are very good and the Ravens are very good, but the Steelers are weird and the Bengals are the Bengals.
Well, the Bengals are playing pretty well right now. They're not the instant write-off that we're used to them being, I would say. Right now,
I would say my take on the Bengals right now is that they're a well-coached team that's not there yet.
I'm going to disagree that I think that they're an okay coach team led by an ascending second-year quarterback and a stud wide receiver in Jamar Chase and an underrated defensive line. But I get what you're saying. They are the Bengals until proven otherwise. All right, next game. I gave Manfro's pick, yeah. Next game, The Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns. Cardinals, the last undefeated team in the league. The Browns coming off a tough loss at the end there to the Los Angeles Chargers, but played a hell of a game. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites on the road. I'm going to give Michael's pick first. Cardinals over the Browns. Kyler and D-Hop with have their way. With have their way.
I think it's safe to assume he meant to say will have their way, and he just simply
listen. I don't like
typo.
I don't like assuming things because you're an asshole. But
it's not the. Okay, all right.
No, but you are an asshole.
No.
Okay, go squeak laugh somewhere else, bitch.
Fuck you, jerk off.
So Nipper's taking the Cardinals over the Browns. He's expecting big games from Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. The Cardinals were this close to losing to the 49ers in one of my upsets last week. And that's with Trey Lance, who is as green as you can get at quarterback. The Browns defense, even though they gave up 45 points, is a really, really good defense. Defensive player of the year right now, Myles Garrett. I think the Browns are going to be able to slow down Kyler Murray, much like you saw a not as talented 49ers defense do to Kyler last week, and their usually explosive offense. I'm expecting a high-scoring game here, despite both defenses being pretty good. Give me the Browns and give me the 2.5 points.
I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I haven't seen enough out of any opposing defense to make me feel like Kyler is not the truth right now. Because I love this guy.
I do too.
I feel like he's playing out of his mind every single week. His connection to DeAndre Hopkins.
And rookie Rondale Moore, who is killing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got too much trust in Kyler right now. I like what this team's doing. They're making me a believer week in and week out. I'm sticking with the Cardinals.
Yeah, and you make a good point. The game they won this past week against the 49ers is a game that I think they lose last year. So they're starting to learn how to win ugly, which is the key to being a playoff team. Next game, the Las Vegas Raiders now have a head coach special teams coach, 20 years in the league, taking on the Denver Broncos. They're now 3-2 Denver Broncos, who are not playing particularly well right now. Weird game, division game, first game without John Gruden. So the Broncos are actually 2.5-point favorites at home. I'm going to give Manfro's pick. Raiders over the Broncos. Raiders are going through, but Denver doesn't have the talent to best the Raiders. Best actually works there. Yeah. It does. I'm actually going to take the Broncos here. I might even take him if Gruden was there, but it's so hard for teams to overcome turmoil like this. Now, one thing I do think that we're going to see happen with the Raiders this season, and I think that Derek Carr is actually going to play at an even better level. He was really starting to master into such a way the complex John Gruden offense. But now I think that the rookie, interim head coach is going to give him free reign. And when I've been watching Carr the last couple of years, he's been doing so much at the line of scrimmage, kind of like Peyton Manning used to do on the Colts, changing protections, changing the plays, hot route, audible. And I think now in this situation where you're a first-time head coach, you're going to give that veteran quarterback even more leeway at the line. I think Carr is going to have an unbelievable second half. The team may not win much. And like I said, you already started to see those cracks in the foundation of the 3-0 start happen. But I'm going to take the Broncos here. I think this is a bounce-back game for their defense and a bounce-back game for Teddy Bridgewater. Give me the Broncos and stay away from the 2.5, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos just based off of the turmoil. It's going to be hard on a week like this where your coach is in the spotlight. People are asking you for quotes about your coach. Your coach resigns, and it's just a tough week.
Sometimes teams can rally around that and play even better. It becomes like this rallying cry, like us against the world, but it's very, very hard to do. It's just hard to block out all that noise, and you can't really focus on football, but sometimes it's all you do want to focus on. So I think it's going to be a tight game either way. All right. Dallas Cowboys. My pick for MVP right now, Dak Prescott, taking on the New England Patriots, who got out of Houston with a win barely. The Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites on the road. This is a really interesting game to me because I think in most years when we see, the hot team going into New England's kind of been like this. Usually, it always feels like under Belichick, the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season are like extended preseason for the Patriots. Even if they get off to 3-1, 4-2 kind of starts, you don't feel like they hit their stride until right around this point in the season. But I don't see that with the Patriots this year. The offense isn't good enough. They're averaging 19 points a game, going up against a very opportunistic Cowboys defense, led by the defensive rookie of the year, Micah Parsons, and Trayvon Diggs, who's just a ball hawk right now. And again, like I said, Dak is killing it. Zeke is killing it. Pollard's killing it. CeeDee Lamb's killing it. Kellen Moore is calling great games as the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys here, and I'm taking the 3.5 too. I think it'll be a tight game early on. The Belichick defense will do some work, but it is not. You will not be able to keep up with the weapons on the Cowboys offense. So give me the Cowboys and give me the points.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. Preseason, I almost kind of wrote them off a little bit just because I
We all
don't
did.
think that Mike McCarthy is a great coach. But the players are playing out of their minds. Dak's got complete command and control of this offense.
Good for him.
Like you said, the play calling has been spectacular. We were talking about Dak to win offensive or comeback player of the year. Forget that now. This guy is the MVP right now.
Yeah, I'd agree. And comeback player of the year. Legit. Yeah, it's true. All right, Manfro. Cowboys over the Pats. Dynamic team versus a team who's struggling to find their identity. I could care less about the team struggling. Thank you, Joe Namath. Next game. The Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks. Oh, my God. This is so pointless, and my buddy Jeff said it to me during the game the other day. He's like, why do you hate a backup quarterback like Geno Smith so much? And I said, fuck you, Jeff. That's simple. No, I hate Geno because he was a cocky motherfucker for doing nothing when he was Jets quarterback. He had 2 really good games, and one of them happened to come against the Dolphins in week 16. I want to say the 2013 season. He had a perfect passer rating. It was really cool to watch. But he's just a low life sack of shit. Not Jeff, Geno, maybe Jeff a little. But Geno, you get your jaw broken by your teammate because you didn't pay a debt, you fucking loser, and looking like a Ninja Turtle motherfucker. Yeah, so they're playing the Steelers who beat the Broncos. Ben didn't look bad. I'm going to take Geno Smith here, and I'm probably going to regret it. I think the Steelers ran into the Broncos at the right time. Their defense is very good. Ben looked decent. Najee Harris looks really good, but I still don't buy it. I like Tomlin a lot. I think Tomlin's good. This is an upset for me this week. I think the Seahawks rally around not having their quarterback, and Geno is good for a random good game every so often. I might flip on this one. I don't know. Give me the Seahawks.
I can't pick a Geno Smith-led team to win anything.
Well, that's because you're being smart.
The Steelers are the Steelers. They always have a Steeler defense, even when they're not that great. They know how to play against certain types of teams. And Geno Smith's a backup quarterback for a reason. This defense is going to feast this week. I'm taking the Steelers.
All right. Manfro, Steelers over the Seahawks. Geno Smith will not get the job done. Big Ben will slang the ball all over the Hawks' poor day.
He wrote slang?
He will slang the ball all over the Hawks' poor day. Do you think he meant sling?
I don't know. I mean, A and I on the keyboard are nowhere near each other. So
that's true. That's a good point. So I'm going to say he will slang. Maybe slung? He will slung it? That's past tense. Does Manfro have a time machine? Some people think that cucumbers are better pickled. All right. Final game, Monday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills, the on fire Buffalo Bills, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry just capping off the greatest 40-game run for any running back in NFL history. This is not hyperbole. You can look up the exact stats. He has more rushing yards in 40 games than any running back in history has ever done. Unbelievable achievement. The Bills are on fire right now. The offense is playing well. The defense is playing well. They're being coached well. They have the number one scoring offense in the league and the number one scoring defense in the league. The last two times that happened with teams through week 5 in the NFL was the 1972 Miami Dolphins and the 1996 Green Bay Packers. Both those teams went on to win the Super Bowl. However, that will not happen with the Buffalo Bills because the Buffalo Bills don't win anything when it matters. But they will beat the Tennessee Titans this week. It's a really good matchup for the Bills defense. If they lose this game, the Bills, they still will go to the playoffs. They might make it to the AFC Championship game. This game will be telling about their postseason. I know it's very early to say that, but the way the Titans play offense is the kind of way that teams will want to play the Bills in the postseason. Physical, run the ball, keep Josh Allen on the field, keep Stephon on the sideline, keep Stephon Diggs on the sideline, keep all those weapons on the sideline so that they can't get into a rhythm. If the Titans win this game, the Bills will not have a deep playoff run. And even if the Bills win and it's close, the blueprint will be laid out for how to play the Bills in the playoffs. You remember a few years ago, before the Chiefs won their Super Bowl, Mahomes' first season in the league, they lost a regular season game to the aforementioned Titans. And the Titans kept Pat Mahomes on the sideline the whole game. This is the blueprint game. Physical, control, but I think the Bills will be able to pull it out. I do think they're a great team. I can say how much I hate them however I want. They're a great fucking team. I'm going to take the Bills here, but I'm not going to do it with the utmost confidence.
I'm going to take the Bills as well. It's hard to make the Chiefs look pedestrian and then think that they could possibly lose to the Titans. So I'm sticking with the Bills here.
Yeah. Manfro, Bills over Titans in a landslide. And then he typed out all the lyrics to Landslide by Fleetwood Mac.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. I made that part up. All right. So, Josh, you got some ground to make up, and so does Manfro. 3 games. I feel very confident that let me see how many picks we had different this week. So you and I have 1, 2, 3 different picks this week. So there's your chance to make 3 back. My plan this week and next week is to bury you cocksuckers. Where you stand, dead. I'll beat you into the living death.
There was a pretty sizable lead at some point for you last season, and I came back and erased
There's nothing sizable about me, Josh. That's a joke about my wiener. So, guys, the other thing I want to say is scheduling's been a little crazy the last couple of weeks between work. We were supposed to do our regular episode on Tuesday. I thought Tuesday was Monday, even though Monday happened. Full disclosure, I got really, really baked at Slipknot on Sunday. It wasn't even just Slipknot. It was like I was up at 9. My buddy was over to watch football with me, like at 9 a.m., like just baked. Go to Slipknot, really baked. And it was like, smoking throughout the show, taking edible, whatever. And then like when Slipknot, before they come out, like it was like, all right, let's get really, really high now. I was so fried on Monday, like actual Monday. I'm pretty sure I was still high until like noon on Monday. Like I was dead to the world, like emotionally. Like my coworker said I had dead eyes. They're like, your eyes look dead right now. And I was like, yeah, I feel like that. And then Tuesday was like a really busy day at work. And I look at my phone at like 3 and Josh was like, oh, what time tonight? I was like, holy shit, it's Tuesday. I was like, this ain't going to work. Like, this ain't going to work this week. So my hope, my prayer is that this week we will have our normal episode. If we don't, I'm fine with doing this right now. As I've talked about in the show, I'm in a new position at work. So I've been doing a lot. I've been staying late. I've been learning a lot. So that does take priority. Josh, it took priority for you last week at work.
Right.
Manfro, work, priority. But Slipknot was dope.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a great show overall. I was happy to see one of my favorite bands, Killswitch Engage, for the 9th time.
Yep.
And they played some of my favorite songs, and I had a real blast while they were on. Slipknot, for my first Slipknot show, that was awesome, man. They really fucking tore it down.
For how long they've been doing it and the kind of show they do, to still be able to go like that. and keep the crowd engaged. It was dope that Bob was there, last minute kind of replacement that he got to see them for the first time. He had a fucking blast. Richie was obliterated.
Richie leaves at one point, and I text him and I go, "Hey, bring me back a pretzel." And you said, "Get me a pretzel too." I said, "Actually, get 2 pretzels." He came back with like 8 pretzels.
8 pretzels, yeah, and we ate them.
Yes, we did.
We sure did. All right, guys. So this is our Week 6 NFL picks. Shout out again at Ruglebach, at Z Kazman, at Collect77. Get in on these card breaks, guys. They are awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Later.